Hey guys, welcome back. As you know, over the weekend there will be the Worlds, and I wanted to take this opportunity and make a last tier list before Worlds. We have Win Worlds here, the best decks of the best. We have top decks, which is just a category under that, not the best deck or decks. Maybe we will put in some here, not a lot. Then we have mid decks, we have trash it decks, which are definitely super bad, and you could in theory decraft, even though I never really suggest to decraft stuff because over the long term you are losing resources. And then we have future potential, which are decks that will be nice in the future and you might want to invest in right now. So we have a lot of decks to go through, as you can see right here. So without further ado, let's start right here. We have Sprite, which is at the moment kind of nice. It's a mid deck. We have stuff back from the ban list for Sprite. This is still kind of solid if you can establish a strong board, and this also can kind of play into a board, so I guess. We have Goblin Biker, which I also would put in the mid category over Sprite, that's for sure, because at the moment there is a lot of Ryziel running around and you can use a lot of the Goblin Biker cards to detach from the Ryziels, which just make it one of the best formats that you can play Goblin Bikers in. We have this Void stuff here, which I would say trash it, is just a bad deck or don't craft it. Then we have a Ritual Beast, which honestly I'm not quite sure where I would rank this. It's super bad into like the Mulchis, into Maxi, into the Dominus traps. Trash it is pretty hard for this deck. Definitely might land at the top of Trash it, but it's not the greatest deck. Same goes for Pearly. Pearly's time is kind of over. You can combine this with Yummy in the future, but it doesn't really work out. So honestly, not the best. Wouldn't really play it. Maybe Trash it. It's maybe a bit hard. Let's maybe put it at the bottom of the mid category. Same goes for the hero stuff. I would also put this somewhere here at the bottom, but we will see how this will end up. I think Branded is still a top deck. This will definitely not be at the top of the top decks, but can definitely still perform, and I think there will always be formats in which Branded can shine, and some generic fusion support can always be a Branded support. We have Ancient Gear here, which I would say trash it. They are just way better going second decks out there, and you will not really see any support for it in the near future. We have Centurion. This is kind of a nice mid deck, definitely the strongest of the ones we have talked about, yet can make a lot of very, very strong synchro boss monsters. We have a Labyrinth, which at the moment I think is more of a mid deck that I would definitely place under Goblin Biker, but I would never put this in trash because this is just one of these toolkit decks where whenever a new trap comes out, this is potentially Labyrinth support, and this is definitely the best trap deck we have. So yeah, kind of nice still. Unchained together with the Fiendsmith engine I think is kind of a nice deck. Wouldn't call it a top deck, but definitely put it somewhere here. Has a very strong end board, but definitely isn't that great into cards like Maxi, so this was better in the TCG. We have this Chimera stuff here, which I would simply decraft. If we talk about the Chimera stuff combined with like the White Forest stuff, so not Chimera on its own as the pure fusion version, then I would say it's somewhere here in the mid. Otherwise I would just trash it. Same goes for Flaunt Reese. The time for this deck is definitely over, and it's definitely hit too much. Maybe this stuff will return from the ban list from time to time. It is nice in the Maxi, which is kind of good, but yeah, it's not really it. Exorcister, unfortunately, the same. I think the time for Exorcister has passed. They are just way better XYZ decks. Definitely, I'm going to put this under all of these because I really hate this deck. Then we have the Dinosaur stuff, which I think, honestly, we have the Drurak support, which makes it a bit better, but this is still not a great deck. I would put it here in the trash category. Then we have Fire King, talking about pure Fire King. So if we talk pure Fire King, then I think it's kind of like bottom or somewhere here. It's a mid deck. It's somewhere here, pure Fire King, that is. But I also think it could have some future potential because for fire support, for example, and there will be formats in which this is a bit better. Together with the Snake Eye stuff, I think it's a bit better than the pure version, but still both versions would be kind of like a mid deck. Blue Eye is still one of the top decks. I think even better than a Branded question mark. Not really, tough to say. I think this is just more consistent. Branded is a bit, has a higher ceiling. You have to play it better. I think I would put Blue Eyes over Branded here. This is a super solid deck still, and we won't see any more hits. Maybe at some point we will get back our, what was being banned, the Maiden and the, wasn't Maiden going to 2? Maiden and the white guy, the level 1 normal summon guy, I think they went to 2. If we get them back, then Blue Eyes can once again shine. We have Aggro Stars. This is a deck that I would just trash super bad. This Jandora G Millennium Sarcophagus thing here is a total trash deck. Then we have the evil hero stuff, which is trash, just get rid of it. Then we have White Forest. They will get support in the future with very cool cards. Honestly, I don't really like to play the deck. It's too combo heavy for me, but yeah, you can't really deny that it's a very strong deck. I will put it here in the future. It will definitely go up, so it also has future potential, I guess. But yeah, this is not where I want to rank decks. You will see what I mean with future potential in a second. Then we have Crystron, which honestly is still a very good deck. Obviously, it suffers from lands here. I might land up on the bottom of the top decks here. Also has a good future potential here because this will be combinable with K9 in the future. So let us have this as the first deck with good future potential, but also be aware that this is one of the best decks at the moment. I think way down at the bottom, but it's still good. We have Drytron. I would just trash this deck, not as much as I would trash some other decks here, honestly. And then Vanadium. The Vanadium's time is definitely over. Go trash this deck. Then we have Salamangreat, which I don't know. Salamangreat, it's okay, maybe at the bottom of mid decks. Then we have Sky Striker. Future potential will get nice support, Sky Striker that is, with Sky Striker Ace 0, a very strong card. Then we have Jubel, which I think is still, especially with the Fiendsmith engine, a very solid deck. I would place it somewhere here under Goblin Biker, just because Goblin Biker is nice in this format. We have Trap Tricks, which I would honestly trash, because this is just the worst trap decks in comparison to Labyrinth. Then we have it's not Six Samurai, it's like, how is this being called? Super Heavy Samurai, trash it. Then we have Fiendsmith, so Fiendsmith variant, Fiendsmith Control, a very good deck, one of the top decks for sure at the moment, and I think the Fiendsmith engine will stay relevant for a while in Master Duel. We have Teardaments, which is still an okay deck, kind of. It's really tough to place it under Sprite, and I will not do this. I mean, if you hit the right stuff, then this can definitely go off. We still have the Kid Carlos, which is a big thing. So I'm still placing it somewhere here. I think these decks are, yeah, way better than these that are down here. That is definitely a difference. That's somewhere here. Here's the cut, basically. Then we have Dragon Link. They get support in the future potential here. We have Memento, also future potential, because we can combine this with K9 in the future. But I also think that Memento is one of the best decks, even though this is definitely somewhere here at the bottom. We will see how we will arrange this. Rescue Ace, this is a bit tough in my opinion. It's not really a trash deck, but I would place it at the bottom of the mid category. Can't really place it under Salamangreat though. Then we continue here with this Red Dragon Archfiend, Scarlet Archfiend stuff. I would say trash it, but you could keep it for stuff like synchro events. So this is a consideration, I guess. And we have Light Swan, trash this deck. We have Kashtira. Yeah, I don't know the Kashtira engine. Obviously, as a pure Kashtira deck, this is a trash it deck, but the Kashtira engine itself is more of a mid deck. I would place it at the bottom here. Important differentiation. Then we have Vanquish Soul. This is top of future potential. Obviously, right now it's not a very nice deck. You could put it in trash it at the moment, I think, but because this will be one of the best decks in the future, Vanquish Soul K9 that is, definitely the deck with the most future potential. These two here, because you can combine them with K9. Then trash it, Marin says it's an easy thing. We have the Primate stuff, obviously together with Blue Eyes, and I talked Blue Eyes Primate here when talking about Blue Eyes, but together with the Blue Eyes stuff, this is one of the best decks. Obviously would also be placed here. We will get support for the Primate stuff in the future, and I think this is kind of a nice engine, but once again I cannot really place it over stuff like these decks here, because the Kashtira deck and this Primate deck, this is not really the deck itself, this is more like the engine at the moment. Both are kind of mid engines, I think, but there will also be future potential moments where normal summon monsters will have their time to shine, and then you will always want to go Primate, I guess. We have Ragnarika Rika, or Ragnarika on its own, trash it. We have Tenpai Dragon. This is pretty tough. I mean, you can still play this and can still be successful with this, so I can't really say trash it when it comes to this deck, but this is definitely pretty mid at the moment. It's definitely better than these decks here. I think you can be more successful with this. I wouldn't put it over White Woods though. We have the, now I'm blanking again, not Six Samurai. I'm always wanting to say Samurai. By the way, Six Samurai for me is a trash it deck. I have not this on my list, but trash it for sure. Sword Soul, yeah, I'm sorry. Sword Soul, yeah, once again, you can use it in some synchro events. With the new support, Sword Soul is not like a trash it deck anymore. Otherwise, it honestly would have been, but it's more like here in the really not that great mid decks. I would play it over Sprite, I guess, not really over Fire King though. Then we have Voice, which I think is kind of underrated still. You can also combine this with Ryziel, which is kind of fun. I don't know, it's Nah, we can't place it in top decks. It plays very well into Fuvolos and XC, which is pretty great. But other than that, yeah, okay, I can't really place it over these decks, honestly. But somewhere here, it's one of the best mid decks for sure. Would definitely not trash it right now. It's just so much better in the OCG and Master Duel than in the TCG, and yeah, this really shows. Snake Eyes, I think we have it. We can trash it right now. You can play it, and you can play it successfully. I can't really place it and trash it, right? No, we have to place it in mid, actually, because you can still play it, and it's definitely better than some of these decks here. Wouldn't really place it over Sprite at the moment. We have Mathmech, which honestly as a pure version is still very solid. I can't really put it anywhere else but in the mid category, and I would definitely place this. I would play this over a lot of other decks that I can see right here. I would honestly place it somewhere here. Yeah. I think Voice is just a bit better, and then here you have Mathmech, which they will also get support with the new Adignista stuff. Obviously you play this in Malice, but you can also play this in Mathmech. And then we have Raid Raptor. I would say trash this deck. Dark World, trash it. Then we have Mermail, or the Mermail Atlantean stuff, one of the top decks for sure. We will have to rearrange them later on. Maybe Ryuge is a trash it deck. We have seen it. They have the entire support, and it didn't really land anywhere. We have the Millennium Exodia stuff. This is kind of a nice deck, honestly. You can play it as a like Floodgate version. It's a bit sad that they got hit basically by other decks abusing their engine. So I am placing this somewhere here. I think this is better than Sword Soul, but I would play Fire King over this. Then we have Mimighoul, which you can combine this with Yummy in the future. Over the weekend I was at the bigger tournament, and the game I lost was against Mimighoul Yummy. I was playing Yummy myself. This is pretty bad against Yummy. But yeah, other than that, it's more of a trash deck, unfortunately. Then we have a Malice, and this should be no big surprise, but Malice is obviously Win Worlds deck. We have this XYZ stuff, which is like the Shark stuff. I guess the Shark stuff is here. Then it's this XYZ, and then you make the Draglubion stuffy here. Trash it. Then we have Sharks, trash the deck. Then we have the trash it for sure deck, which has to be somewhere here at the bottom, which is I always want to call this the Volcano deck, but the Dark World deck, and then the Dark Souls deck, it's Ascent, yes. And then we have Melodious, which definitely a kind of nice deck still if you can establish the end board. It's very strong, has some crazy spells in Ostinato. And the other cards that it has available. I really like this deck. I like it more than I can't really put it over Whitewoods, honestly. And then we have Ryziel left, and there's the other not really big surprise. I think Ryziel is also one of the Win Worlds decks. Obviously, there cannot be a Worlds winner with only Ryziel and Malice. I hope you understand what I mean, because they are playing teams, and they will need to have other decks on this roster. But I think these are the decks that are just most likely to be represented and the best ones. But then once again, there's definitely a separation that has to be made here when it comes to these decks. Would I place Ryziel over Malice? Nope. I would place Ryziel a bit under Malice, but not that much. Yeah, these decks are definitely the strongest ones. We don't need to argue about that. And now let's rearrange the top decks category. I think it's kind of fair to say Blue Eyes is here. I think the way I had it before is kind of right. This goes lower to the bottom. I think, okay, I think like this. Yeah. I like the Blue Eyes deck the most, but not by far. And then we have Mermaid Atlantean, which is super strong going first and second. And we have Branded. If you can play it, it's great. Memento is still very solid. And then we have this Fiends with Control, which is still a very good deck. But yeah, this is my tier list before Worlds. Let me know in the comments what you think. What are you playing right now? Maybe one of these trash decks, and you hate me now. Let me know in the comments. If you liked the video, please consider subscribing, hitting a thumbs up and the notification bell. And we will see each other in the next one.